Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome. This is kind of the weirdest thing we've done. It is a Friday afternoon. We're doing qualifying and we're doing the race on the same day, but we're under the lights at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Kind of doing this a little weird, but this race is anything but weird. This is a big, pivotal race in the Wawa Cup Series chase. It's not in the chase, it's gonna set up the chase. Last race of the regular season, the Celsius Peach Vibe 400 tonight, this evening, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on AG the channel. It's one last race before the chase here in the Wawa Cup Series for 2025. And it is a tight battle for those last spots in the top 10. We got four drivers who have mathematically clinched a spot in to the championship chase this season. Ladovic Charette, Daniel Paulus Jr., Travis Crampton, and Duncan Ward. They're all guaranteed to be going for a championship this season. Laura Chung, Kierstabel, Nathan Smith, Logan Williams, Isaac Nichols, Alex Samantali are currently in. Avery Alford, 1 point behind that cutoff coming into this race. Jack Haas is 18 points behind the cutoff, though he does have a race victory. Andrew Miller, he is 25 points behind the cutoff with a win as well, holding on to the last wildcard spot. Blaine Keys, Tanner Barr, Nicholas Samedeo, all hoping for a race victory to have some sliver of a chance to make it in to the Wawa Cup Series chase here in 2025. We'll have to see how tonight's race ends up shaking out, qualifying in the race on the same day, so it is a big deal, and it's a hot and slick racetrack here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And the reason why I am still using the night version is because you may notice we got some red walls here. Thanks to Airgel making these tracks for us. The Wawa Red circling this Atlanta Motor Speedway, not the Echo Park Speedway, but the Atlanta Motor Speedway. This is different than the racetrack that they will be at tonight in the Xfinity Series and in the Cup Series tomorrow night. Regardless of the fact, excited to see how this ends up playing out. The ticker's not working. That's lovely. I'm going to have to fix that. Regardless of the fact, here for Uncharted qualifying for the Celsius Peach Vibe 400, you got the number 90 machine, Henry J. Brown. We actually got two drivers attempting their first ever start here in the Wawa Cup Series. Henry Brown in the number 90 is actually going to be in the Wawa Open, driving for Grattan Autosport on Tuesday at Hillside. So we're excited to see that. Other hot seaters. Number 91, that's Stella Arcadia, made a couple of starts in the Sprint Series, and, well, it doesn't look like they're didn't even get a time in. Came down the pit lane right there, and we'll see if they end up getting back around. Josh Marzak in the 14, and then the 42 machine is Joshua Neely here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Fastest driver right now is the 82 of J.R. Ribbleton. You got Aaron Lukes, Darian Arnsdorf, Eric Monaco, Johnson Jameson is 5th right now. And then the last spot would actually go to the 42 of Joshua Neely on the hot seat provisional. I don't think we have used the hot seat provisional yet this season. Jameson's now out as Haley Anderson Jr. and the 45 of Eric Monaco move up, and the 90 of Henry Brown going to move into that last qualifying spot. It's still J.R. Ribbleton, Aaron Lukes, Darian Arnsdorf, Haley Anderson Jr., and now the 00 of Zayden Davidson. Of course, top 5 advance on, and the highest hot seat driver. And the highest hot seat driver right now is the number 90. And 90 of Henry Brown looking to make his first ever start here in the Wawa Cup Series in his first ever attempt. You got Aaron Lukes now to the top of the board in the number 2 machine. Eric Monaco with the last spot. Jared Martin, the last one out right now. Now it's Eric Monaco, last one out. Zayden Davidson has gone up to 2nd place in the 00 machine. J.R. Ribbleton falls to 3rd. And then Darian Arnsdorf, Haley Anderson Jr. with the last spot as of right now, and Henry Brown still with the last spot for the hot seat drivers. Now Josh Marzak's taking it away in the 14. Marzak now in the position in 8th. That is the highest hot seater. No change in the top 5. You got Zayden Davidson going top of the board in the 00 machine. Great run for Zayden Davidson. Looking to jump Darian Arnsdorf in the championship standings. The highest hot seater, or highest uncharted driver, I should say. He's got a little ways to go to get to Darian Arnsdorf at this point, especially with both drivers looking to race their way into the show. Marzak's gone to 5th, and Henry Brown, because Marzak moved up to 5th, putting himself in position to advance on as well in the number 90 machine. Great run for Henry Brown there. So it's Davidson, Aaron Lukes, J.R. Ribbleton, Darian Arnsdorf, Josh Marzak, and Henry Brown. And that might do it. Will the time run out right here? Not quite yet. Still got 30 more seconds left to see if anyone gets these times in here. These group sessions are going to be very, very interesting because the draft here at Atlanta is very significant. Same case at Pocono last week, essentially. You want to make sure you get that draft ahead of the car ahead of you. Move yourself into a good position. We could see ourselves a very interesting Fast 6, which could very well play a huge role to who ends up making the chase later on tonight. It's going to be a big night of racing here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, I tell you that much. We got our drivers who are in the show. We got ourselves Aiden Davidson, Aaron Lukes, J.R. Ribbleton, Darian Arnsdorf, Josh Marzak, and Henry Brown racing their way in to the Celsius Peach Vibe 400 here from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And failing to qualify will be Hallie Anderson Jr., Eric Monaco, Jared Martin, Carson Miller, Johnson Jameson, Dylan Matthews, Joshua Neely, and Stella Arcadia. Let's move on to Group A here from Atlanta. Let's see how it all goes down and who qualifies where. And keep in mind, there's a point on the line for who the pole sitter is in this session. Let's see how it all goes down here from Atlanta. And here we go from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It is the Atlanta Motor Speedway. As I said, Echo Park, you know, SMI, Marcus Smith's company. If he wants to pay me to say Echo Park Speedway, I'll gladly do it. But I don't see any money coming my way from those guys. So it's the Atlanta Motor Speedway, and Justin Zeidel going to be the first one out. This is the first racetrack this season where we have had a second race. We were here back in February, and we saw ourselves Isaac Nichols go to victory lane in the Truist 400. It's going to be a bit of a different racetrack. It's going to be similar under the lights, so there might be a little bit more grip, though it is very hot right now. We'll see what the random weather ends up being later on tonight, because it's going to be very different. The way I do these races, I set actual weather, an actual weather forecast, where the racetrack is, and then when we get to the race, we just let the game decide what it's going to be. So, you know, it's going to be a little different that way. Andrew Miller, this is a huge race for Andrew Miller, and realistically all he needs to do is finish top 5, because if that ends up being the case, and even if someone behind him gets a win, he's still going to have enough points. He's got 15 points on Blaine Keys behind him. Now what he doesn't want to have happen is have a bad race, and he ends up having Isaac Nichols fall outside the top 10 and take that last spot away. Or someone like Blaine Keys, Tanner Parton, Nicholas Amdio get the race victory later on tonight. Is this ticker ever going to work? And that's going to be very, very interesting to see how it ends up shaking out in that regard, because Andrew Miller's in a very good position if he has a good race. But if he doesn't have a good race, then all heck's going to break loose, and it's going to be fun to see how it ends up shaking out from there. Of course, top 3 advance on to the Fast 6 here in Group A. There's Avery Alford, and what a huge race it is for Avery Alford, because Alford is 1 point behind Alex Savantali for that chase cutoff. So in theory, all he's got to do is beat Savantali, but that is not the case, because you also got Isaac Nichols, who is only 3 points ahead of that cutoff. Logan Williams, who is only 8 points ahead of that cutoff. And heck, even Nathan Smith only 18 points ahead of that cutoff. So it's not going to come easy for any of these guys around that cut line right there. I would say that Laura Chung's pretty good unless she wrecks out in the race and falls all the way to the back, but she should be good, and she does have a race victory as well to fall back on the wild card if need be. One team that we do not think is going to make the chase, though things could get a little crazy tonight. Thomas Troxel in the 62 machine, 27.822 right now, is the fastest driver here at Atlanta. I mean, all Troxel can hope for is that both Jack Haas and Andrew Miller make their way in, or one of them makes their way in. Nobody else gets a race victory, and he is the second highest driver outside the top 10 with the race win. That is possible for Troxel, that could happen. And it's even possible for Brian Webb, of all drivers, to make the chase. If things really get crazy and both Jack Haas and Andrew Miller push out, say a Logan Williams, Alex Savantali out of the top 10 right there. That could very well happen Ludovic Shred, of course, looking to win the regular season championship in the number 51, 27 points ahead of her pseudo teammate there of Daniel Paulos Jr. A little bit better in qualifying here than at Pocono last week, but not quite what she needs. 6th quickest right now. Nathan Smith is quickest in the 06. And Isaac Nichols is 8th. That's not good for Nichols, because Nichols is only 3 points ahead of the cut line. But on the flip side of that, Avery Alford, 13th quickest here. That'd be a 25th starting position. Now he's now up to 7th and ahead of Isaac Nichols. So that would be, do the math correctly right here, that would be a 13th place starting position there for Avery Alford. Ludovic Shred's still 6th. That would be 11th starting position for Ludovic. Not bad. That's not bad, considering what happened last week. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, Nathan Smith, Thomas Troxel, and Braden Perez. Braden Perez, if I am not mistaken, won the pole when we were here back in February. He has not had a good season. And, you know, if he gets the win, there's still some wacky chance that he can make the chase. If he wins and both Haas and Miller find themselves up there, he can jump Troxel, I do believe he can do that. He's going to take a lot for him to jump Troxel in the points. That wild card battle is going to make things very complicated for us in our attempts to figure out who's going to make it in. Travis Crampton is 7th. Laura Chung is 8th right there. Travis Crampton, I should say, in 4th in the session. He will start 7th where he currently runs, and the 20th of Laura Chung. That would be a 15th place starting position for Laura, but on the inside lane. Let's see if some other notable drivers in here. Andrew Miller. Oh boy. 16th. That would be 31st starting position tonight in that 86 machine. And he's really the lowest of those chase hopefuls in this session. That is not good for Andrew Miller. He's going to have to really work for it. And there's only 65 laps in tonight's race. There's not going to be a lot of time to work your way from the back to the front. So he's going to have to get out there and get it. Nathan Smith, Thomas Troxel, Braden Perez. Troxel just... This is a race Troxel could win. We'll just have to see. It's not going to do him any good. The only chance Troxel has is if Jack Haas or Andrew Miller have a good day. Well, it's not looking good for Andrew Miller right now. And maybe if you're Troxel, that's a good thing. You got nothing to lose at this point. Go for it. Just go for the win. Why not? Get a 3rd win of the season. Join Duncan Ward and Daniel Paulos Jr. Travis Crampton will start 7th. Zayden Davidson will start 9th. How about him in qualifying as of late? Ludovic Shred will start 11th. Avery Alford will start 13th. We'll see where Sam Vitale ends up sliding in here. Nichols is going to start in the 19th position, so not too far off from Avery Alford, with Laura Chung in between them there in 15th. And then you had Tanner Parton also in between them as well, who's also trying to get a race victory and have a shot. He needs a win to have any opportunity in making the chase. He will start 17th. Josh Marzak will start in the 21st position. Leonard Kochmer will start in the 23rd position. Trey Bartow is going to start 25th, and Brad Stover will start 27th. They were tied. Bartow has the advantage on the tiebreaker. Brian Webb will start 29th. Andrew Miller will start 31st, and Angel Gutierrez will start 33rd. LJ Cemento will start 35th. J.R. Ribbleton will start 37th. Justin Zeidel will start 37th. Rogel Dorn will start... Justin Zeidel will start 39th, and Rogel Dorn will start 41st here from the Atlanta Motor Speedway later on tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on AG the channel. Let's get on to Group B here from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. See who joins Nathan Smith, Thomas Troxel, and Braden Perez for the Fast Six. And here we go for Group B from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Bigger story out of Group A would be Andrew Miller. He's got to be careful, and he's got to just hope that no one behind him wins. Because if no one else wins or Nichols doesn't fall outside, he's going to have to hope for Nichols to have a good run. Nathan Smith is looking to possibly win the pole for this race. As long as everyone who's got to win stays in the top 10 there, Miller can still get away with it. But it's not guaranteed if Nichols has a bad race. And the wild card battle is really where it's going to be. And then you also got Alford, who's going to be starting, top half of the field right there. Sam Vitale is not known for having a good qualifying effort here in the series. As a matter of fact, of all the drivers' top 10 in points, he has the lowest average starting position, 21.48. And, hey, Bryce Egan, Thomas Troxel, Matthew Hubert all have better starting positions than Sam Vitale does. But Sam Vitale has finished significantly better than all those guys. And he's got a 5-position difference between his starting position and his finishing position, a +5. And very, very solid in these races. So watch out for Sam Vitale as this night goes along. And there he is coming on the racetrack. This is another guy to watch out for in this race. Blaine Keys in the 32. And I kid you not, Blaine could win tonight. And I say that because I feel that the Pacific cars are actually pretty good on these intermediate tracks. Heck, I mean, Taraxel won opening race at Auto Club. He won at Texas a couple months ago. And Blaine could still have a shot. If he gets this win, Miller, where he is, Blaine could jump Miller. As long as Nichols has a good night, Blaine could steal that last spot away from Andrew Miller. And Andrew Miller is never going to live down what he said at the end of the Thanksgiving 500 if that happens. And then you got Logan Williams as well. And another big story that we're going to follow tonight. Logan Williams trying to make the chase for the first time in his career. He's been driving for Appalachian Motorsports since the beginning of the series 2.5 years ago, and he's never made the chase. He's got 3 wins in the series, but he's yet to get a win this season. He's got an opportunity at making the chase, though, and having a chance at this Wawa Cup Series Championship. He just went to the top of the board, pulling off of Blaine Keys. Blaine is now 4th quickest, but these times are going to change as the session rolls along. You got Duncan Ward, last week's winner from Pocono, in 2nd. Bryce Egan is in 3rd. No change right there. Duncan Ward at the top of the board in the 23. What a surprise. He's going to get his 4th pole of the season. Of course, Duncan Ward already locked into the chase, so he has nothing to worry about. He's going for another win and an opportunity. I think there might be a little bit of sentiment on that team that, you know, let's get Avery Alford in the chase here. Knock that 61 out. Speaking of Sam Vitale, who has been in the top 10 in points pretty much this entire season, holding onto that last spot by 1 point. He is now in the 8th position. Bernardo de Oliveira in the 0 has just gone the 2nd. Kirsten Bell, and now Nicholas Samadillo has gone the 3rd, knocking out Kirsten Bell. Roberto Crown Jr. Well, they were up there for a second. Then you got Blaine and Logan Williams. Blaine Keys in the 3rd position right now, looking to possibly win this pole here tonight. Blaine's got 1 pole that came at Bristol earlier this season. I know he would love to have an opportunity of winning this race tonight and possibly making the chase, and you know what, that would alleviate quite a bit over there at Pacific Racing. And here's the deal, it can't be both of them. It can't be both Blaine and Troxel, I don't think, at this point. It really don't see much of a scenario where that ends up happening. Logan Williams 4th, that's a solid start. The downside for these guys, they're outside lane to start this race, but that's an 8th place start for Logan Williams. Oh, and Kirsten Bell just moved up into the 3rd position. We'll see if Blaine catches anything off of Philip Torres right here and moves his time up. Not enough. Tires are going to wear out as well as this session rolls along. Well, Blaine looking to now start in the 8th position. Kirsten Bell looking to have a good run. Jack Haas is the other guy, 16th. Those guys are going to start alongside each other. The 2 guys who hold on to the wild card positions. Well, actually, Jack would break the tie with Fitzwater and start 30th. They're going to be 1 spot away from each other in the back of the field. That is not good at all for Jack Haas and Andrew Miller, trying to make it into this chase on the wild card. And that's good for someone like Blaine, trying to win this race and have an opportunity at making it in on a walk-off win. And that is possible. Nicholas Samadillo is another driver who could theoretically jump Andrew Miller, though. It would take Miller failing to finish for Nicholas to get that last spot. Tanner Parton, though, is still within striking range of Andrew Miller. Only 16 points there for him. Could get very interesting. Nicholas Samadillo 5th there. Philip Torres is 6th. Then you got Logan Williams now down at 7th. That's 14th for Logan Williams. Not exactly where he wants to be. And then Sam Vitale is 8th. A notable driver's not having a good run here. Daniel Paulus Jr. is 10th. That's a 20th place start for Paulus if that ends up being the case. Which, for Paulus, it's not going to mean too much. But trying to possibly win that regular season title, Ladovic's going to be starting much further ahead at this rate. And that is, in fact, what it'll be. Take a look there at the finishing results for Group B. Duncan Ward, Bernardo de Oliveira, and Kirsten Bell. So 3 drivers who have done very well in qualifying, and all have a pretty good opportunity at this one. here from Atlanta for this pole. Blaine Keys will start 8th. Nicholas Sambadio will start 10th. Philip Torres will start 12th. Logan Williams will start 14th. Alex Sanventali will start 16th. Roberto Crow Jr. will start 18th. Daniel Paulus Jr. will start 20th. Jack Haas did improve his time up to 22nd, but still going to be mired midway through the field in this one. Darian Arnsdorf will be 24th. Bryce Egan will be 26th. Christian Master will start 28th. Matthew Hubert will start 30th. Zachary Fitzwater will start 32nd. Drew Webb will start 34th. Henry Brown will start 36th. Jesse Turner didn't get last. Good for him. He'll start in the 38th position. Bruno Diacomo will start 40th. Aaron Lukes will start in the last position. Let's get on to this Fast 6. See who gets this pole for tonight's race. Celsius Peach 5 400 here from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And here we go for our first driver here in the Fast 6. Kirsten Bell in 93. Not locked into the chase, but needs a good solid run, and she'll be fine. Does have that win to fall back on as well in North Wilkesboro, and I think that's the case for a lot of these guys, like Kirsten Bell, like Laura Chung, like Nathan Smith. They got that win already, so even if they do end up having an issue in this race and don't get a good finish and for whatever reason fall outside the top 10, they can fall back on that wild card. Only downside is you get no bonus points going into the chase. You're going to start a little bit behind on that. Regardless, it's still going to be a reset for these guys going towards the championship. Ladovic's got a massive amount of points on these guys going in, and that's all going to be taken away from Ladovic because of the chase. And Ladovic's right, that's not necessarily the position you want to be in. All these guys kind of even back out, especially Paulus and Duncan Ward. I think those are the guys you got to watch out for. And Kirsten Bell here in the number 93 looking to set the benchmark. Here from the Atlanta Motor Speedway, it's going to be a fast lap. It's going to be a 28.498 here from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And let's get on to our next driver, Braden Perez in the number 44. Braden Perez next in line in the number 44 for Millennium Motorsports. Was the pole winner here back in February, looking to get his second pole and sweep the Atlanta poles. That's a unique little thing for a driver who's 21st in the championship standings. And, you know, it's kind of a shame because Braden's a guy who's made the chase the past 2 seasons, and the jump over to Millennium Motorsports did not work out in his favor. And I don't believe this team will be returning next year either, so we'll see where Perez ends up in 2026. I don't think this time's looking as fast as what Kirsten Bell just said. It was a 28.498 that Kirsten just said a moment ago. Braden Perez trying to match that. Have an opportunity at a miracle win and a miracle shot at the chase. I don't think it's particularly going to happen in that regard for Braden. But regardless of the fact, he'll be starting top 6, and he is going to be second. 28.596 for Braden Perez here from Atlanta. Next in line, Bernardo de Oliveira. He's had a couple of good runs here in qualifying this season. Once again in the Fast 6. Seems like a Rut Racing car makes the Fast 6 every single week. And once again, Joe Rakowski's team is here, looking for a pole position. They actually won the pole last week with Laura Chung in the 20 at Pocono. This is a very different racetrack than the Pocono Raceway. Let's still see what Bernardo can do in the 0. Still looking for his first ever win here in the Wawa Cup Series. Needs to beat a 28.498 set by Kirsten Bell. And you can see some very serious speeds going into these corners here. Tire wear will be a significant part of the race tonight, and we'll have to see how that ends up shaking out as we move along and who can manage that the best once we get down to the end of the race. Only 65 laps, so it's a short one. It's going to go by very quick, especially if this race goes caution-free, which is very possible. This race went caution-free back in February. De Oliveira, 6.13. That is the slowest time so far, but still going to be a top 6 starting position for the Rut Racing driver. And Thomas Troxel next in line in the number 62. Thomas Troxel, everybody, made a Fast 6. Been a weird season for Troxel and this Pacific Racing team, and you ask Brennan, you ask anyone on this team, they would agree that there have definitely been some shortcomings based on their expectations, and I think for a lot of people's expectations, especially with Blaine Keys. The thing about Blaine as of late is been a lot of things that are kind of out of his own doing that have put him in the situation he's in, but Blaine has not gone on and dominated races and gotten all these race victories at this point in the season like he did last year with Racing Motorsports, a team that has also fallen off completely from what they were last year. So the exchange of Blaine Keys over the Pacific Racing did not work out in either party's favor in that regard. But Troxel, who was the regular season champion both in 23 and 24, will not be the regular season champion this year. We'll see. He might be our pole sitter tonight. 28.432. That's the fastest time so far, so we'll see what that holds up with our last two drivers, Duncan Ward and Nathan Smith. Let's see how it all goes down here, these last two drivers in the Fast Six. And here is last week's winner, Duncan Ward, in the number 23 for Team Williams. This team looking to win the owner's title, by the way. There's definitely going to be some extra motivation if they can get Avery Alford in the chase as well later on tonight, but Duncan Ward already locked in after that win at Pocono. And quite possibly could be a championship favorite here as we move into the chase beginning next week at Chicagoland, a place where Duncan Ward won last year in the Sprint Series, by the way. Needs to be at a 28.432 that was set by Thomas Troxel last time around. It's a very good opportunity for Duncan to get his fourth pole of the season here tonight. Regardless of the fact, he is going to be a threat to win tonight as well. To get his fourth win of the season, join Daniel Paulus Jr. as four-time winners on the year. This is looking pretty quick for Duncan Ward. That car is really hugging that inside line very well and across the line. 4, 2, 3. Oh, that was close, but he's got it. And Duncan Ward goes to the top of the board with one driver left here in Atlanta qualifying. Alright, this is it right here. Nathan Smith or Duncan Ward winning this pole here at Atlanta for tonight's Celsius Peach Vibe 400. Last race before the chase. Both of these drivers, of course, have aspirations to make the chase. And then Nathan Smith in a pretty good position. Duncan Ward, of course, already locked in to the chase based off of his points position. Nathan Smith, by the way, he was kind of hanging on to that wild card a majority of the season. Got the win in Las Vegas early on and has since moved himself in the top 10. It's been one of the more consistent drivers as of late. We'll see how well he does here in this qualifying effort. A little bit slower there in 1 and 2 than what Duncan Ward had. By the way, the only GRT car in this Fast 6. GRT's all over the place here tonight, guys, and with the way Duncan Ward's been driving, I don't think it's a lock that GRT's going to win this title. Especially once we get that points reset here for the chase. 597. That's 5th for Nathan Smith. Duncan Ward has won his 4th pole of the season. And he'll lead us off to the green flag later on tonight in the Celsius Peach Vibe 400. And that does it here for qualifying. The race later tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on AG, the channel. Duncan Ward and Thomas Troxel on the front row. Kirsten Bell and Braden Perez in row number 2. Nathan Smith and Bernardo de Oliveira in row number 3. And we got Travis Crampton and Blaine Keys in row 4. Zayden Davidson, Nicholas Amedeo in row 5. Ladovic Charette and Philip Torres in row 6. Avery Alford and Logan Williams in row 7. Laura Chung and Alex Amitali in row 8. Tanner Parton and Roberto Crown Jr. in row 9. Isaac Nichols, Daniel Paulus Jr. in row 10. Josh Marzak and Jack Haas. Jack Haas, one of those guys trying to get the wild card there in row 11. Leonard Kochmer and Darian Arnsdorf in row 12. Trey Bartow and Bryce Egan in row 13. Brad Stover and Christian Master in row 14. Brian Webb and Matthew Huber in row 15. Andrew Miller turning 31st alongside Zachary Fitzwater in row 16. Angel Gutierrez, Drew Webb in row 17. LJ Semedo, Henry Brown in row 18. J.R. Ribbleton, Jesse Turner row 19. Justin Zidell, Bruno Diacono row 20. Roland Orn, Aaron Lukes row 21. All comes down to one last race here before we set the chase grid. And it's going to be an intense race here tonight from the Atlanta Motor Speedway, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on AJ the channel. Duncan Ward and Thomas Troxel on the front row for the Celsius Peach Vibe 400. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. Congratulations to Duncan Ward on his pole, and we'll see you guys later tonight for the last race of the regular season. I will see you guys later.